Are you growing tired of watching the price of your silver and gold go down, down, down? As of the recording of this video, we have gold below $1,900 per ounce, silver fighting to keep $22. But is there reason for optimism? Let me tell you one thing right now. If you've survived the last 2 years being invested in precious metals or even the mining stocks, you are tough. And you're watching this video right now and you're okay. Things are always darkest before dawn. And while we thought it got real dark 6 months, 9 months ago, it's gotten dark again. But we do have reasons to be optimistic. And I'm going to share a few of those with you in this video. Mike Mahari from Shift Gold recently published a fascinating article that points out there is a massive movement right now in our world of gold and silver moving from the west to the east, and we can't ignore this because when we look at countries like China and India, each with 1.4 billion citizens, almost 9 times more than the total population of the United States of America, these are major power centers. China and India have 2 of the fastest growing economies in the world. And unlike the United States, their middle class is growing and expanding. If you tried to live as a middle class person in the United States over the last few years, the last decade, the last 2 decades, the middle class is being decimated in the United States. People don't have a lot of extra money to invest into things like silver and gold, but they don't really care about silver and gold in the West anyway. The exact opposite is true in China and India. Think about that for a second. 9 times more people, massively expanding economy, massively expanding middle class, and a culture and monetary system that puts a much, much higher regard. It's almost the opposite of the United States, where nobody cares about silver and gold. Over there, everybody cares. If you don't own silver or gold over there, you're like the person in the United States that does own silver and gold. Everybody likes it, and the demand picture from China and India only continues to look better and better. Let's dig into some of the details in this article. You will be fascinated. 30 years ago, the World Gold Council started publishing world demand figures for gold. Back then, Asia only accounted for 45% of the world's demand for gold. Today, any idea where that might stand? Try 60%. But listen to this. China and India have driven this migration of gold east. The World Gold Council describes the 2 countries as super consumers of gold. 30 years ago, China and India accounted for about 20% of annual consumer gold demand. Today, the 2 countries make up nearly 50% of gold demand. The Indian gold revolution started in the mid-1990s. In 1992, gold demand in India accounted for only 340 tons. In 2022, that had more than doubled to 742 tons. So when we hear about the vaults at the COMEX, right, where they trade all the electronic and paper and unicorn fart dust precious metals, when we hear about their vaults being drained, where do you think that metal's going? Where do you think all the metal that used to be at the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, where do you think that's going? It's going to the eastern countries. And don't forget, their economies are growing. Their middle class is growing. This is a trend that will likely continue. I know you are special and unique. Yes, you. It's a big deal you've decided to join me today here in Ron's Basement. I want you to come back. I hope you feel like you found a new friend. I'll put out a new piece of valuable content every day for the rest of my life. That's my promise to you. All I ask is you give this video a thumbs up. That helps get the word out. And subscribe. Now, here in the United States, we may feel like outcast if we're buying silver and gold. Nobody does it. Guys, it's so different in Asia. The exact opposite. Everybody buys gold. Everybody buys silver. Listen to this. And it's not just the rich people. Everybody. In 2018, 1 in every 2 households in India purchased gold. Overall, 87% of households in the country own some form of the yellow metal. More than 75% of the families in the bottom 10% had managed to buy gold. Indian households own an estimated 25,000 tons of gold. Let me just remind you, that's more than 3 times the amount of gold that's supposedly held by the U.S. government in our very own Fort Knox. The yellow metal is interwoven into India's marriage ceremonies, cultural rites. Indians also value gold as a store of wealth. What do you think is going to happen as these countries become more rich, more powerful? What do you think that's going to do to the silver price and gold price? Let's touch on our friends in China, where annual gold consumption rose 5-fold from just under 375 tons in the early 1990s to a record high of 1,347 tons in 2013. China has ranked as the world's largest gold-consuming country, and that was 10 years ago. Economic growth is doing it. Explosive economic growth. That's what's driving this. Chinese middle class, they're like the fastest growing in the world, and they love their gold, but it's not just there. Turkey, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, all have reported gold import increases in recent years. We also see the eastward shift of gold in the central bank gold buying. The biggest buyers in recent years by central banks. And remember, those are the most sophisticated financial institutions in the world, right? Countries like China, India, Turkey, and Singapore. According to a fall 2022 Bloomberg report, large volumes of metals are being drawn out of the vaults in financial centers like New York and heading east to meet the demand in Shanghai's gold market or Istanbul's Grand Bazaar. We already know there's a difference in the silver price between the Shanghai gold market and the COMEX here in the United States, and we know that the metal is just slowly being drained from us to them, but not us individually. We can be our own central banks and hold on, which in my case is silver, maybe in your case, silver and gold. I think this is beautiful and sums it up perfectly. From Seeking Alpha, for millions of people in Asia, gold still is a basic form of savings, in contrast to the West, where financialization started decades ago, and gold has slowly been removed from people, their day-to-day lives. Until a financial crisis emerges, that is. In the West, people own little or no physical gold when they feel financially confident. People in the East have retained a long-term view concerning gold. Their ancestors saved in gold, and so they've been taught with the knowledge that ultimately gold doesn't lose its purchasing power. Hey, thank you for joining me here in the basement. You know you're always welcome here. If you want more, go watch a live stream. But until next time, you be well.